Use the chart in your knowledge of social studies to answer question 1. Which conclusion is best supported by the information in the chart? A. The Stamp Act led to widespread smuggling. B. Colonists raised revenue by imposing new taxes. C. British policies were opposed by many colonists. D. The colonists reacted to British laws in a nonviolent way. Number 2. In 1776, the British colonies in America were at a crossroads. King George III has rejected the colonists' olive branch petition. Patrick Henry had declared, "Give me liberty or give me death," and the British regulars had marched on Lexington and Concord. These and other events contributed to the decision of the Second Continental Congress to F. Issue a Bill of Rights for colonists. G. Declare independence from Great Britain. H. Send a peace-seeking delegation to King George III. Or J. Seek an alliance with Native Americans. Number 3. In what ways did the Magna Carta and the English Bill of Rights both impact the American system of government? A. They called for the creation of colonial assemblies. B. They gave settlers the power to establish colonies. C. They guaranteed specific rights to individuals. D. They granted executive authority to colonial governors. Use the outline below and your knowledge of social studies to answer question 4. Which topic would best complete the above outline? F. Reasons for the growth of representative government in the American colonies. G. Reasons for the use of economic policy of mercantilism in the American colonies. H. Reasons for the development of trade routes between Great Britain and its colonies. J. Reasons for the decline of individual liberty in the American colonies. Number 5. How were the several colonies of New England similar to each other? A. They had long coastlines, rocky soil, and cold winters. B. They had tall grasses, little rainfall, and fertile soil. C. They had long growing season, mild winters, and hot summers. D. They had high mountains, fast-flowing streams, and rare mineral resources. Use the chart below in your knowledge of social studies to answer question 6. Which title would best complete the chart above? F. Revolution. G. Colonization. H. Independence. J. Industrialization. Use the exhibit in your knowledge of social studies to answer question 7. The excerpt above inspired the new Continental Army to A. Endure the hardships of the winter at Valley Forge. B. Equip and feed all American soldiers with their surplus supplies. C. Encourage the replacement of Washington as leader of the Continental Army. D. Defeat the British troops at Lexington and Concord. Number 8. Use the chart and your knowledge of social studies to answer question 8. Which characteristic is correctly matched with the number in the table? F. 1. Tropical. G. 2. To rocky soil. H. 3. To cash crops. J. 4. To tobacco. Use the passage in your knowledge of social studies to answer question 9. Which provision of the U.S. Constitution reflects this grievance? A. Providing for the separation of powers. B. Forbidding Congress to raise an army. C. Creating a national executive. D. Allowing constitutional amendments. Use the graphic organizer in your knowledge of social studies to answer question 10. Question 10. Which of these completes this graphic organizer? F. Parliament repeals the Stamp and Sugar Acts. G. King George III allows colonists to petition Parliament for tax relief. H. Parliament passes the Intolerable Acts. J. King George III appoints colonial representatives to Parliament. Number 11. After the end of the Revolutionary War, states were eager to expand into newly available territory. The states of New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Virginia argued over competing claims to land west of the Appalachian Mountains. This conflict was addressed by the A. French and Indian War, B. Proclamation of 1763, C. Northwest Ordinance, D. Treaty of Paris of 1789. Number 12. One advantage American revolutionaries had over the British Army was F. Reliable allies to support and supply the American soldiers. G. A larger number of military troops in reserve. H. An extensive naval supply system for moving troops and supplies. J. Knowledge of the terrain where most battles were fought. Number 13. Use the diagram and your knowledge of social studies to answer the question. Which of the following best completes the diagram? A. Good natural harbors. B. Reliance on slave labor. C. Large plantations. D. Shipbuilding. Number 14. Which excerpt from the Constitution expresses the principle of federalism? F. All legislative powers herein granted shall be vested in a Congress of the United States. G. The President shall have power to fill up all vacancies that may have during the recess of the Senate. H. The judges, both of the Supreme and inferior courts, shall hold their offices during good behavior. J. The powers not delegated to the United States are reserved to the states respectively. Number 15. The Mayflower Compact was an important step in the development of American democracy because it A. provided an example of colonial self-government, B. established the principles of separation of church and state, C. defined relations with local Native Americans, D. outlawed slavery in the Massachusetts Bay Colony. 16. Which statement best summarizes a key argument of the Federalist Papers? F. The national legislature should establish an official church. G. The country needs a strong central government. H. The state governments should provide for national defense. J. A Bill of Rights is necessary to protect individual liberties. Use the image to answer question 17. Which turning point in the American Revolution does the above newspaper excerpt refer to? A. The negotiation of the Treaty of Paris by American diplomats. B. The American victory at the Battle of Saratoga. C. The bravery of American soldiers at Valley Forge. D. The occupation of New York City by British troops. Number 18. In this excerpt, Patrick Henry advocates that American colonists F. fight on the side of the French and Indian War. G. Support the restrictions of the Proclamation of 1763. H. Not fear declaring their independence from Great Britain. J. Negotiate a peace treaty with Great Britain. Use the map below to answer number 19. Number 19. Which best explains the economic differences shown on the map above? A. Most of the slaves who had once lived in New England had migrated to Canada. B. Slavery was more suitable to the South because of its geography and climate. C. Slavery was illegal in New England and mid-Atlantic colonies by 1775. D. Slaves were widely used by New England shipbuilders for hard labor. Use the map below to answer question 20, colonial triangular trade. Number 20. Which conclusion can be drawn based on the trade pattern shown on the map? F. African slaves were used to meet the labor demands in the Western Hemisphere. G. Indian slaves were dispersed throughout the Western Hemisphere. H. African manufactured goods were traded with Europe and the Americas. J. African slaves were used to work in the urban factories of England and North America. Use this excerpt to answer question 21. This argument was made by George Mason, who was considered A. a Federalist, B. an abolitionist, C. a Loyalist, D. an anti-federalist. Number 22. Which of the following was an important effect of the Treaty of Paris of 1783? F. Canada and the Ohio River Valley were returned to France. G. Britain recognized American ownership of all territory from the Atlantic coast to the Mississippi River. H. The British Navy agreed to stop pressing American sailors into service. J. The Americans agreed to grant citizenship rights to Native Americans. Use this passage to answer question 23. 23. The provision in the Bill of Rights that reflects the same belief is the A. Right to fair trial by a jury of your peers. B. Protection against unreasonable searches and seizures. C. Guarantee against double jeopardy. D. Prohibition of cruel and unusual punishment. Use the diagram to answer question 24. Which significant individual correctly completes this diagram? F. John Burgon. G. James Armstead. H. Marquis de Lafayette. J. Bernardo de Galvez. Number 25. How you doing? Which argument was used by the Federalists in favor of ratifying the new U.S. Constitution? A. The new Bill of Rights provided sufficient protection of individual liberties. B. A strong central government will provide order and stability. C. The creation of new national government was necessary to emancipate the slaves. D. A new national government would impose higher tariffs and promote full employment. Use this excerpt to answer question 26. Puritans immigrated to the Plymouth colony in the 17th century primarily to F. Profit from natural resources. G. Avoid crop failures and famine. H. Escape religious persecution. J. Produce cash crops to pay debts. What were the primary reasons for the founding of the English colonies? A. The English colonies were founded in order to reduce overpopulation in England. B. The English colonies were founded to provide a new start to poor people throughout Europe. C. The English colonies were founded by business people that planned to make money by selling land to settlers. D. The English colonies were founded by people with various goals, from making money to seeking religious freedom. Use the illustration to answer question 28. The economic system illustrated above was opposed by American colonists because it F. Supported the development of manufacturing in the 13 colonies. G. Provided equitable and fair trade between the colonies and England. H. Restricted American colonial manufacturing and trade. J. Prohibited American colonists from commercial fishing or trading in furs.